So I'm with Paul Milbank, who was in the finance industry amongst other things, but he's now in the church industry, if that's an industry. He's working in St Helier with the church as a missionary verger, you say?
Yep, that's right.
Missionary verger. Is that a deliberate policy decision to abandon finance and go into the church? Is that a Christian reason for that?
I wouldn't say it was a Christian reason for it. I would say that it's kind of a calling to church ministry that led me out of the finance industry, as opposed to any kind of objection to the finance industry that pushed me out into ministry.
How many years were you in finance?
I worked in finance for just under 3 years.
Always in Jersey?
Yes, always in Jersey, yeah.
Whilst you were in it, did you have any doubts about the nature of the finance industry? Did it bother you at all, the things you saw, the things you were having to do?
Yes, I mean, the one thing that did bother me was the attitude of the pursuit of wealth at all costs, and whether that's the people working within the industry or the people that we're often serving, and helping them to invest their money. The idea of wealth and wealth acquisition as an end in itself was always a bit disconcerting, and I saw that a lot amongst my colleagues, as well as some of the people that we were working with.
Of course, it is the trend in the world for the rich to get richer and the poor seemingly to get poorer.
Yeah.
Do you think perhaps that's something that Christianity ought to be addressing?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's probably I think the fact that there is still extreme poverty in the world, in a world where there is also lots of extreme wealth. I think in terms of the great evils of our age, I think that has to be it. I mean, if you look back and you can identify certain evils of ages past, for example, the slave trade. I think when we look at our age now, poverty and extreme poverty still existing in the world, while others live in extreme wealth and privilege, is the great evil of our age.
Of course, the church, to a large extent, supported the slave trade in its heyday.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose the church, to a large extent, because it's not very critical of the finance industry, you could say it supports the finance industry.
I think you would probably right. If you're talking about the institutional church, I think, like every institution, it has a temptation to protect its own territory and not say anything that might put it at risk with those people who are perhaps helping to fund it. So if you're talking, about the institutional church, I think so. But if you're talking about the teaching of Jesus Christ and the relationship of his followers with him, I think that's a different story, and I think Christ is very clear on what he thinks about wealth.
Do you think there is realistic scope for Christianity to have an impact? You're going into the Christian church full-time, hopefully to make for want of a better word, a career out of it.
Yeah.
But do you think realistically in the world as it is, you can have an impact, not just you, but the Christian movement altogether? I
think the Christian faith and the Christian movement, as you put it, has a history of making an impact in many different ways, and I think if we don't make an impact, then we are irrelevant and pointless. I think yes, there's the aspect of a personal faith and a personal walk with Jesus Christ as being very, very important, but at the end of the day, we're called to be salt and light to the earth, which means that we're called to go into the places where nobody else would particularly want to go, because we're motivated by something that nobody else is motivated by, which is that we've been saved by Christ, we've been given new life in Christ, and therefore we have to go and serve the suffering and help the people who don't have the same kind of privilege that we do.
In this island, there are many, many thousands of people who would call themselves Christians, and there's a great deal of church-going activity going on.
Yeah.
Is it puzzling to you? It's certainly puzzling to me as a non-Christian. The sort of lack of impact they have on the morality of the island. Does that surprise you?
I have to say, I was surprised when I first came to Jersey, in particular, of the there is, and I don't want to be judgmental, but there is a certain kind of complacency within the church here, and I think it's the product of belonging to such a wealthy and comfortable society. And so yes, I guess there I was a bit surprised by that. But having got to know more people since I've been here, and kind of looking a bit more into the kind of inner workings of certain ministries that are going on in the island, actually the Christian church is making a very large impact. And not just the church, but other just Christian organisations.
As a non-Christian, I'm surprised at the number of Christians who are not ashamed, but reluctant to admit to being Christians in Jersey. Any idea why that might be?
Yeah, it's not very cool, is it, to be a Christian?
Why is that then? Why could that be?
I think it's something that's always been the case. Christians have always been unpopular, and it says very clearly in the Bible that we're never going to be accepted by society and popular. And I think if we are, it's quite possible we're doing something wrong.
Well, it is the established church. I mean, it is part and parcel of government, the whole way of life. We're sitting in the established church building now.
Yeah.
It has total respectability.
Yeah, well, maybe that's not such a good thing.
You think there might be scope for change there?
I don't know. I'm not qualified or inclined to go into the kind of political side of things. I think we could see a change in the future. I think for a long time the institutionalised church, the Church of England, the kind of the established church has gone through a period of not being very effective, and it's been down to the other, the non-established churches to kind of do the real Christian work. But I think we're seeing a turning point in that, and that's what gives me the kind of the motivation to be here. It was that I belonged to an Anglican church before I came to Jersey that was doing incredible things in society, and that's why I'm here.
For you personally, what's the plan? You have to go off and study, become...
Yeah, it's kind of difficult really. I don't know, I haven't got a set plan, to be honest. I know that I felt called into ministry. This job came up, and it was a friend of mine who was doing it before. He approached me and asked me if I'd consider it, and I said no. I thought about it a bit more and prayed about it and saw it as a good opportunity. I'll definitely have to do some studies. I'll definitely have to, kind of explore the way forward. But I'm just going to live by faith and hope that it works
Would you
out.
see your future somewhere like Jersey, or would you rather go to South Africa or somewhere?
I'd like to go wherever God calls me. I don't have a particular plan in terms of where I'd like to be. I love Jersey, but I think if there's work for me to do somewhere else, and God calls me to it, I'd be happy to leave.
Thank you much indeed.
Thank you.